26% of Americans are now satisfied with the way things are going in the United States. That doesn't sound like a lot, because if you do the math, that leaves over 7 out of 10 Americans who are dissatisfied. But nevertheless, that 26% is one of the higher numbers we have seen in a while. If we look back at the trend, we also had 26% who were satisfied last May. That would have been May of 2011. That was the month in which Osama bin Laden was assassinated in Pakistan, and Americans generally were more positive, at least in the short term at that point. But going back beyond last May, we have to go all the way back to April of 2010 to find a comparable number. At that point, 27% of Americans were satisfied with the way things were going. In the period of time between April of 2010 and now, we had satisfaction as low as 11%. So if you look at the trend, particularly in recent months, you see this measure moving up and moving up and moving up. That's good news for President Barack Obama, because generally speaking, the higher this overall satisfaction number, the higher his chances of getting reelected. Let's look back at history and see where this number was for other presidents who have attempted to be reelected. George W. Bush, back in March of 2004, 39% of Americans were satisfied, and of course, Bush went on to get reelected. Let's go back to Bill Clinton, March of 1996, 36% of Americans satisfied. Clinton was reelected. Now, let's go back to George H.W. Bush. That would have been in March of 1992. Only 19% were satisfied, and of course, Bush Sr. was not reelected. And then if we go back to 1984, in February, we didn't ask it in March of that year, but in February of 1984, satisfaction was way up at 50%. And of course, Ronald Reagan, the incumbent president at that point, went on to get reelected overwhelmingly over Walter Mondale. So you can see the numbers here. 19% was the number at which Bush Sr. was not reelected. All of the other presidents have had at least satisfaction numbers up in the 30% range who have been reelected. Now, at this point, again, the satisfaction number for Barack Obama at 26%, so he's kind of in an in-between land. Ideally, of course, the Obama re-election team would want that number to go higher between now and October, but we'll wait and see what happens. At the moment, 1 out of 4 Americans satisfied with the way things are going, and that's pretty low on an absolute basis, but on a relative basis, it's on the way up. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Gallup Editor-in-Chief.